Hi friends, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I call setting your posture compass, or your posture, I don't know, default target or something like that. I grew up with bad posture. I was a slouchy kid. I also had a congenital low back thing that made me kind of have a sway back and a kind of a collapsed chest at times. Back in the 70s, we slouched as a matter of principle. I mean, if you, in my crowd, if you were upright, that meant you were essentially a fascist. It meant that you were military, jock, conservative, pro-Vietnam, all that kind of stuff. So, or pro-Vietnam War, I should say. So it meant all that stuff. So a lot of us were, we were hippie stoners in the suburbs, and we slouched as a matter of principle, like exercise was kind of for suckers. It was really dumb. But, it had social benefits, and, we had a lot of fun. So now, as I'm getting older, I started Tai Chi at 27, and I really realized, oh man, my posture is pretty awful. So I started really doing yoga and Tai Chi and started to try to study and improve my posture. And one of the things I tried to do in my Tai Chi especially was to try to maintain good posture all the time and do my best to keep my body and bones aligned and my muscles relaxed and my joints loose, and etc. Probably started mostly with posture in the beginning because that's all I had the brain space to handle, but eventually included the other aspects too. Over time, and teaching a lot of people, many dozens of people Tai Chi, and probably, I don't know, maybe I've had 500 students or something over the years, I don't know. But over time, I've developed a different way of looking at posture. And instead of something that I try to hold or maintain or keep going all the time, I think of posture more as something that I do when I'm still, in between movements. And I call it setting my posture compass to a basic aligned neutral position. Then I go into motion and I lose however much of that neutral that I need to lose in order to maintain the function and effectiveness of the movement, right? Then when I come to stillness, I go back to the upright posture. So imagine a candle, right? If I had a candle in my hand, if I just held that candle in my hand, that flame will be vertical. It'll be upright. There is no way for that flame to remain upright in motion. We're living in a world of change, and change affects the way things are. There is no structure. There is no nouns. Everything is a verb. There's structuring. There's moving, but there is the illusion that things can be still is it's an illusion. They're moving. You're moving right now no matter what you're doing. Willie Nelson, still is still moving to me. So, where I think posture ideas have relevance is in stillness, relative stillness. So when you're not actively in motion, just the tiny little motions, when you're not actively in motion, check your posture. Whatever your system tells you is good posture, check it. Then go into your next movement and then check it again. Rather than to try to maintain the posture as you move, which is kind of like a straitjacket, trying to turn a verb into a noun, which I think is actually kind of either a recipe for rigidity or injury or both. Because when you're moving and rigid, that's when you get into trouble. So I let my body figure out what's the minimum deviation that I need in order to do this movement. All I do is just keep checking when I come back to stillness. When there's a quiet moment, I find that upright posture again. Then back to the movement, back to the, engaging and doing all the stuff, and let my body figure out the in-between times rather than to try to consciously figure that out, because I can't. There isn't enough brain space in anybody's brain to do that. You have to do that instinctively. And all I'm doing is setting the tone, setting the compass by saying, like, when we come to stillness, we're going to be upright. So I'm telling my body, when you're moving, just remember, as soon as we're still, we're going to come back to upright. That candle's going to come back to upright as soon as the movement's over. So as soon as it's over, back to stillness, right? So I've got that. Back to movement, back to stillness. So I correct posture in the stillnesses, and I discover that my body takes care of the minimum amount of deviation all by itself, because my body wants to please me like a dog. And you know, if you gave a dog a treat every 5 minutes on your porch, it's not going to run too far from the porch. It's going to leave the porch. It's got a life to live, but it's not going to go too far because it knows there's a treat in 5 minutes. So if I check this, if I keep checking this, when I'm moving, my body's not going to go too far because it knows I'm going to check and it wants to please me. So I keep anchoring that posture compass on my still moments, and then I let my body do whatever it does in the meantime. And I find more and more and more that my body does the correction for me. Like I've done this for as an example before. I might have done it in a video. I might have done it as part of, maybe it was its own video, but it might have just been a part of another video. But the idea is, you let's see if I can do this with and still stay audible. You take a movement that you know really well, like, you know, brush, knee, and push or something like that, and you do it over and over again with a little bit of speed, just switching feet and doing it, and then stop and make every posture correction you can, which for me is always knees over toes, space between my knees, sit into the hip crease, tuck my hips, lift my heart, take my head back and up, shoulders relaxed, slightly down, slightly back. Okay, so I do that. Then I do the movement again. And then I make those corrections again. And then I do the movement again, and I don't have to make nearly as many corrections, even on just the second time, right? In the beginning, the first one, I went, oh yeah, okay, make those corrections, get over here, make those corrections, and then look, it's like my body knows I'm going to ask it in 2 seconds to do that, so it only deviates from the upright as much as necessary, which is the goal anyway. So my feeling about posture is, and what's working for me, I'm not saying this is the way to do it or the best way or the dogmatic way, I'm just saying this works for me, and maybe it'll work for you. If you feel a little bit too rigid or uptight, trying to do a form, holding on to all these postural things in motion, you feel like you're kind of in a straitjacket, maybe try this. So what I do is, I check these things. I'm currently on a posture binge. I'm on a bone level, what I call bone level work, really aligning my bones and stuff. I'm on a bone level binge right now, and I'm going to be there for a while because I have been getting so much relief from this extra attention to posture in the problem areas in my life, which are mainly neck and low back. My knees don't give me any trouble because I've been kind of majoring in knees my whole life. But for instance, again, if I'm doing, say, a brush knee, I would come here and I would check right here, hips, heart, head, and I would take a step and I'd check hips, both hips, heart up a little bit, head back a little bit, do the next movement, and then I check again. But I'm not checking while I'm moving, right? I move, come to a place of relative stillness, and I check. I step and I check, then I'm moving and I'm not checking, and then when I arrive, I'm checking again. So this is my current approach. Eventually I'm going to start working on flow and connections and other, applications and other kind of stuff in my form, but right now I'm just really riveted on this bone level posture correction, and I'm riveted on this idea that the time to check the posture is in stillness, and let your body figure it out in motion, and then check it in stillness, and let your body figure it in motion, check it in stillness, or I should say my body, and that's working super well for me. My overall casual, unstudied posture is getting better and better, and most importantly, low back pain and discomfort very, very diminished, and neck tension, headachy, necky stuff, slouching since I was a kid. That's just getting better and better and better. So I recommend it, and if you try it, let me know if it works for you too. Check posture in stillness, and then let your body do what it does when you're in motion. Okay? All right, this is Gene Burnett signing out. If you like this kind of thing, you can subscribe to this channel. You can also give me a tip. I got a tip jar down there. I got one over on my website. Not expected or needed, but it always helps and makes my day. But mostly I'm doing this to be helpful. So if this helps you and you want to let me know, that's also great. Take care until next time.